Hello everybody, my name is Swicey and welcome to my channel. In Raid, we will soon be having two extremely important events for almost everybody in the game. And which one or ones are for you, you really need to decide, and we'll be talking about that today. So, in the upcoming, soon-to-be future, we have two events. One is Thor as a fusion. Starting September 6th, he will be a mixed fusion, which means you will be taking 4 epics and fusing them as you would, let's say, mod, and then you'll be taking them and then leveling them to level 50, ascending them, and then fusing them into the legendary fusion, which will be Thor. We're not sure who the epic's going to be. We do know Thor, but we don't know his kit yet. All we know is that he is a magic attack based damage dealer in the barbarians, and he looks pretty solid based off the video, considering he has at least one ability that ignores block damage and unkillable. This is good because Odin will be coming into the meta. The top whales and krakens are going to be getting him guaranteed from an event. I didn't say his was one of the important ones because only a very small handful of people will be getting him, but his passive is extremely strong and will be putting block damage out pretty often. So this is just something to keep in mind. Yeah, so Thor, he's going to be pretty solid based off the video, and do you need him is the real question, because the other event is a deck of fate for Freya. We already have Freya in the game, we already know what she does. She's amazing. She's similar to a Siphi or Kaja style champion, while taking on a bit of a different role at the same time. Instead of reviving champions, she puts out shields and things to help them stay alive instead of bringing them back from the dead. She also has an amazing A1 and an AoE 40% chance to provoke. We know all of what she does. Her base stats are fantastic, and this is really a champion you should get. If you don't already have Siphi, if you don't already have Kaja, she'll do a very similar thing in her turn meter boost while doing so much more in the rest of her kit. She's fantastic. I'm going to be going for her over Thor personally, but that's just because I don't have something like her. She's very unique. Now, if you don't already have some really solid damage dealers, I do think Thor might be the option if you can't go for both. But for me personally, I will be going for Freya's Deck of Fate over Thor's Fusion. Now, generally speaking, the Fusion is going to be much more accessible for more people than the Deck of Fate, because the Deck of Fate is going to take a lot of shards. Now, currently, I don't have that many shards. I have 35 Ancients, 27 Voids, and 4 Sacreds. However, I will very soon be getting guaranteed 1, 2 Sacreds, and 1 more Void. This is also not including the gems and energy I will be getting from this. Do keep that in mind when you're thinking of what you're going to be getting. Where along the road you'll be at the time of these events starting. Now, we don't know when Freya's Deck of Fate is going to start, but we do know it's going to be a thing and we need to start saving now, as well as the fusion. But the fusion, we do know when it's going to start, so you can kind of decide how many resources you need by the time that it starts. Now, when it comes to Thor specifically, make sure you are saving everything. You will need everything for Thor, not just shards and gems and energy. For Thor, you're going to need your silver. For the artifact enhancement events, you're going to need your brews, you're going to need your chickens, and you will need ascension potions. Now, usually this isn't a problem. We'll see them quite a few times throughout the event. But the one thing that people often don't have and screws them over is going to be void potions. Now, we don't know if the epics are going to be void. My assumption is they will be, just because it's Thor, and Thor is a pretty cool Norse god, and a lot of people are going to want him, so I can only assume they're going to go out of their way to make it as hard as possible for people. So make sure you have decent amounts of every type of potion, as it's going to be important. As I mentioned, the brews and the chickens will just make champion training much easier, and the more brews you have, the more points you can get off of all of your champs, and make up to like another 70% more points than you would by using gems and stuff. I don't know the full calculations. I'm sure Hell Hades has made a video on this before. I think every time a fusion comes around, they make videos on this. So just make sure you're having some brews, because once you take a champion, let's say Nizana here, somebody who I'm actually going to be maxing, you can drop, I believe it's 3 potions into a 4-star, and that's like the most, well, brews into a 4-star, and that's the most ideal way to do it. And then on 3 stars, I think it's 2, and then on 5 stars, I think it's like 5 brews. I'm not 100% sure. A little unprofessional on my part, but it's just a general heads up for you guys. Now, from there, when it comes to Thor, obviously you'll need shards. You'll need a decent amount, not nearly as much as you will for Freya, but it's still important to get stocked up on them now that we know we have a set date of when it's going to start, and then probably one day after that starts, 1 or 2 days after it starts, we'll have some pooling events. And if you're not prepared, that could screw you over for the rest of the fusion. Especially since we don't have any rares in the fusion, we're just going to have epics, unless they do it where it's we're getting the fragments for rares and then putting them into epics, and then putting the epics into a legendary, which would be kind of weird. But I mean, maybe they do something quite a bit different for this one. I'm not sure. Just keep all these different possibilities in mind. Just be safe. Have enough shards. Don't need to worry about it. Other things that you should keep in mind is if the epics are a part of the fragment side and it isn't rares, just save them for the champion chase event that comes along usually later in the fusion. Usually we have a summon rush and then a champion chase. If you save the epics for the champion chase, you can get, I believe it's, if you're doing 3 of them, because you wouldn't be doing it if you already had 4. If it's 3 of them, then you could go ahead and get 270 points, I believe. Unless that's for, no, I believe voids are 350 for epics. And then normally epics are like 250. As long as my brain is working properly, you could get yourself a decent amount of points just straight off the bat by saving yourself your fragments, your fragment epics here, and then using them as that champion chase event comes along. Now, if we're looking at Freya, I know we've talked about her a little bit already, but just a little bit more in depth here. As we saw, Freya, she's really, really good, amazing champion, and is going to be in the deck of fate sometime throughout this event. She's similar to Siphi, similar to Kaja. If you need that type of support, you then need to have roughly 25-ish Sacred's worth of points if we're basing it off of the previous deck of fate guaranteed champion Fatalis. Yeah, you needed about 25 Sacred's worth of points. That is not including the mystery shards you might have. That's not including the energy and stuff. Just straight up sacreds, about 25, but obviously not that many people are going to have 25 sacreds, so you're going to have to split this out between multiple things. What you can do to make this a lot easier for yourself is, 1, save your voids and your ancients no matter what events come along. Your mysteries, obviously most people have some mysteries saved up. Of course, save your sacreds. I mean, these things are worth so many points in these events, as well as saving your energy and your gems. Now, same thing with Thor, you need the energy and gems, but it's a little bit different. It's going to be similar to, as long as they do it the same way as they did last time, a dungeon diver mixed with a summon rush. So the dungeon diver part, it's not the best way, but if you can save yourself, let's say 3, 4, maybe even 5, 6 sacreds worth of points through doing dungeon divers to get the to get more Deck of Fate cards. It's really, really solid, and it can be the make or break between you finishing the Deck of Fate and not, spending money and not. These are all things to keep in mind. If you're not sure how to save your energy, what you can do is when you get the packs and things, you can actually just go ahead and claim them and then just leave them here in the mailbox. You can also go to these events and then just not claim anything, and then it'll eventually go to your mailbox. Now, the red dots can be annoying, but it is worth it if you're trying to min-max your possibility, your chances at actually getting your hands on Freya. That is really all I've got for you guys. Not too much else to go into. Save your resources. Don't be dumb with it. If you're not doing well on the silver side of things and the artifact enhancement events, do keep in mind the forges here. You can always forge up some stuff to get some more silver. Just a little thing to keep in mind. Also, you can buy mysteries in here. Every time this refreshes, buy mysteries. It's worth it. Eventually, it'll push you over the limit in something. But besides that, guys, I really appreciate you for watching. If you did enjoy this video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, consider joining my Discord through the link in the description. There you can find an amazing community of people who are always happy to help answer your questions and help you get further in Raid. Outside of that, I appreciate y'all. See you on the next one. Peace out, guys.